4 in the morning, Jack Kristoff. 4 in the morning. Hey everyone, it's Floss. Welcome back. It's Floss Reviews and I am reviewing Nevernight. I finished it. Yay, I finally finished it. So many of you were yelling at me on Twitter and Instagram to read it and that I would love it and it'd be amazing. And you're right, okay? You're freaking right. It's amazing. But let's step it back. Let's tell people who haven't read it what it's about. It's about Mia Corvia, and she starts off the book as a rich and not entitled, but as a rich young woman or a young child. She's 10, I think. She starts off the book as a rich young child of a very respected family in the city of Godsgrave, and from there it all falls apart for her. Her father is accused of traitory and is then hung for his crimes, and we start off the book with her watching that and learning what real sort of pain is. Then her mother and her young infant brother are sent to the Philosopher's Stone. Not Harry Potter, it's a jail. And it's all part of this bigger world that Jay has created. We then flash forward or come to the present time where Mia is attempting to find her way into the Assassins community. She wants to go to the Red Church, which is a community that helps create and build assassins and turns them into blades. And there's only 4 spots available, and she starts in a class of about, say, 30 or so. That's all I can really tell you without going too far into what the plot is and getting right down to the nitty-gritty. What I can tell you is I absolutely loved it. And this is a book for me which was really challenging to read because I'm not a fantasy reader and I don't like that kind of dense plotting, which makes it sound like the things I read are lightweight, but they're not. It's just different. I'm more of a contemporary reader and a dystopian and a space opera kind of girl. And this is very much in the vein of, say, it actually reminded me a lot of the Court of Thorn and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, as well as it had elements of some of the more popular YA with her class. But what it does have that those books don't have so much is the violence and the death and the destruction, as well as the sex. Hello. And a few other things as well, which make this kind of almost like, I would say, a new adult / adult fantasy fiction book. That being said, I think readers of any of the Sarah J. Maas series, especially the Court of Thorn and Roses series, will be absolutely comfortable at home. The language itself is very old world. It kind of almost combines Scandinavian folklore stuff with a lot of Italian influences that are there, which are gorgeous. You can just feel it. As well as some, what a great little thing that I really enjoyed was the footnoting that he does throughout the book to give you history and context to the things that the main character, Mia, is talking about. Now, it sounds a bit like a footnote in a fiction book is weird, but it actually gives it levity in moments of real, or often cases gives it levity in moments of real strife. But again, it also gives you a great context of the entire world that Mia is involved in. It's just a small snippets of history in a way that if you were like on Wikipedia, you'd go down the Wikipedia channel. Like, well, I do anyway. I'd go down the Wikipedia click link where you just like go, well, that sounds interesting, I'll read that. And then 5 hours later, you don't know what you're doing. The characterization was great, especially for Mia, who is a resourceful, tough, yet fallible young woman. She is obviously working through great emotional trauma that manifests itself in her magic and her special skill set that is explored throughout the book. She is friends with a whole range of people who are at times hilarious, at times funny, at times charming and hot and attractive. There's also some great mentor-mentee relationships that she has throughout her training and her pre-training that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this book. It was a struggle to get through. Not in terms of that I didn't like it. I don't even know how to describe it properly. It was just, I felt sluggish when I read it. It felt heavy. I felt weighted down by what I was reading. And not in a, I was scarred, not in a trigger warning kind of way, just in a, there was a lot of density to what was going on in terms of that world building that was a plus, yet also there was just so much happening within. Especially in the second half, the book really picks up the pace. I would say around the 200-page mark is when I was fully committed and fully into it. And the last 150 pages are just insane in terms of action and what happens to people and things that go down and jaw-dropping, had to read it till 4 a.m. moments. In summary, I loved Nevernight. I think, again, Jay Kristoff, and I've said this about Jay and Amy as writers together, but also Jay as well, is an incredibly talented modern fiction writer in terms of his books aren't modern, they're incredibly old school, but he's writing a style of book that we don't see from Australian writers in terms of its commercialness, in terms of its sass and action and adventure. And I think maybe that's because he's a part of a younger generation of storytellers who feel braver to go outside the almost predefined landscape of Australian literature, be it YA or storytelling saga, rural farming, romancy things. You know, he's finding his own way through it, and God, I love it. So thank you for everyone who yelled at me to read this. I encourage people who haven't read it to give it a go. Prepare yourself to dig in and do some hard work, but a bit like the heroine, it's not easy, but it's worth the ride. So I can totally recommend it. Yes, read this, and then go and yell at Jay Kristoff on his Twitter feed for being a giant jackass of talent. So that is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. It is out in Australia, the US, the UK. I have seen the 2 jackets. Here is the Australian jacket. Here's that one. Here is the US jacket. I prefer the Australian jacket. I don't know. I know that the US jacket is like, it's Mia and da-da-da-da, but I feel like I like the more vague kind of referencing on this one to that one. But let me know in the comments what you think, which jacket gets your boat floated. And please, 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 please give this a go. Even if you're not a fantasy reader, have a go, have a dip, try, challenge yourself. This is like that book that's gonna hurt you, it's gonna make you work hard, but at the end, you'll be glad you did. Now, I have to talk about some spoilery stuff because I need to just tell people my venting frustrations. I'm gonna talk about spoilery stuff, now it's your time to go. Come back though, subscribe and come back. Bye. Okay, first off, I knew Ashlyn was dodgy. Okay, I mean, I didn't know, but I knew something wasn't right. I thought she was dodgy, I wasn't impressed by her. Not impressed by her, I loved that friendship. So when the twist came that she was she was being a traitor, I was devastated for Mia, but she killed Trick! No! And that poor boy was so dead. He was so dead the longer it went on. I just thought, you are so gonna die, Trick. You are too good for this world. But, oh, I just wanted him to be able to go and smash his grandfather's face in. And he couldn't because he didn't, but Mia did it for him. Yes! It was actually the thing that shocked me, and there was the one twist that shocked me, was actually the murder of, and the actual death of the Blades of Knives, Cassius. I didn't think, because I felt like there was going to be this whole relationship we were going to explore in the next book, and this was whatever. So I was really kind of like, I was like, whoa, oh, he's dead too. Okay, everybody's dying. I am interested to see who the narrator is. I don't know if that ever be explained, but I do enjoy the voice adding its own flavour to it. I think that was fun. I just love weirdly, it's a weird one. I loved the brutality of this because I think sometimes, maybe it's because a bit in YA, it's a little bit more safer, but nobody dies. And I'm a big believer, and if you're going to say that we live in this world of brutality and vengeance and all this kind of stuff, people have to die, things have to go badly. So I kind of am okay with characters being killed off if they have to be, or I'm okay with, you know, a massacre. It sounds really, that's a really out of context thing that sounds terrible. I'm okay with massacres, but I am, because I think if to go through the pain that Mia goes through in her journey, in her process of becoming an assassin, she cannot continue to do it if she doesn't have a driving force of that pain and that destruction at her heart. It has to feel real, it has to feel visceral, and I think that's what I really enjoyed about this book, is that her torment, both the physical and emotional, felt real. I was there, and I could smell the streets that stunk and the piggery, and I could smell the blood and feel it in her caked hair, and the sand everywhere during certain scenes. There was just some really vivid scenes that stuck with me, and I felt them come alive.